closing a skill? Hello and welcome to Titanium Talks Tarot, and today I will be doing another insight, alright, all about communication styles and habits, okay? So, yesterday I was at an event and it was very interesting to see some dynamics forming between personality types, or should I say communication styles. And it was very interesting to see because a couple of weeks ago, or a month or two ago, I had done a training on, the different communication styles and how to communicate with them properly, just to meet your wants or meet what you want to achieve. So I found it very interesting. And of course, this happens over time with practice and so on. But an individual came yesterday and it felt very, very, very confronting. Something didn't mesh well with everybody in the group. And it was interesting to see that although I had mentioned this a couple of weeks prior, it's like it was already forgotten. So I'm going to have to re-mention it, because closing or being able to communicate with everybody properly is a key component, okay? I said this in a prior video in regards to Jesus, who was seen as a martyr, right? Who is seen as someone who, well, in a sense, it's kind of like this guy. This individual I'm talking about, he acted like he knew better, and it was kind of like this difference of like age respect and just feeling like you have the right to think of yourself as better than everyone else, when in actuality you're not better than everyone else. You just know more. That's it. See, so, and in some cases, like, just putting yourself in a more authoritative space could be very contradicting to some people, because especially if you are younger than the other individuals, it might clash a little. So this is where being able to communicate properly comes in very handy, right? Now, I did mention that I think it's time that I reiterate what I talked about in my training, because a part of intuition, all right, is a very big component of habits. What are things that you intuitively know how to do that you don't even have to think about anymore, but you can even do it with your eyes closed, right? I don't suggest you do this with your eyes closed, but you could technically do it with your eyes closed, right? You can walk with your eyes closed. You've been walking since you were an infant. You can drive, preferably not with your eyes closed, but you would know what to do in specific situations and circumstances while driving. Even if you had, like, if someone was explaining the directions to you and you had your eyes blindfolded and everything was described, you would be able to manage because you knew the maneuvers, the ways to work with your vehicle and whatnot, right? But intuition is much like that. The only difference is how deep do you really want to go? And there is no difference with intuition in the sense of, like, how to communicate with people, and intuition in the sense of getting information from higher power or whatever. So the key component to be able to talk with everyone is to actually talk with everyone and to practice talking with everyone, especially the people you have most difficulty with. For example, in certain situations, I am a pearl. In other situations, I am a sapphire. You're like, what is this? Okay, so when I'm a pearl, I'm more loving, more caring, more nurturing individual. When I'm a sapphire, I'm more of an outgoing, dramatic, spirited individual. And then there's other situations where I'm more analytical, more information driven, and in others I'm much more like to the point. This is what we're gonna have to do to get to our objective, and very authoritative, those types of things. So this closing style is the closing style of Dan Lok, and it's very important to be able to know how to frame your communication based on the person you are talking to. Because if you can frame the way you're communicating based on the person that you're talking to, well, then you have a better chance at convincing them or making them go decide in your favor or something like that. This is just knowing how to talk, when to talk, and it's a skill, knowing how to talk, when to talk, and in what order, right? Because if you can do that, if you can answer all the things that everyone wants in the correct order, I can assure you, you'll get farther ahead than just if you were talking to the person that you generally can talk to. But your way of communicating might not agree to everyone. For example, my grandfather was a Ruby, meaning he was a very authoritative, very matter of fact, this is how things are going to be done, and I know best, and blah, 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 type of individual. When I was interacting with him, I was more of a pearl, more of a caring, more of a soft-spoken, more that type of individual. So I would have difficulty communicating with him, especially in certain circumstances where I needed to get out of my pearl state, So being able to communicate properly with everyone at the perfect time can make or break any relationship. Okay? And if you can do this repeatedly and make it into a habit, well, then you can turn it into an intuitive knowing. And when it becomes an intuitive knowing, it becomes something that you can do with your eyes closed. And if you can do it with your eyes closed, you don't even have to think about it anymore. It is in your memory bank. And that's where stuff becomes magical. Which is more in alignment with what I usually talk about. But that's neither here nor there. So what type of communication are you going to have to practice doing in order to be able to close more leads or close more clients? Let me know.